Father Orrin, welcome to In The Pews.
Awesome to be here.
Thank you so much for coming up here. Did you run into any traffic coming up from Rosenberg?
I didn't. It was great. I was able to come real quick.
Y'all aren't that far from us. Like, how far are you from St. Faustina?
It only took me about 20 minutes, so it wasn't long at all.
That's good. Yeah, neighboring parishes. It's awesome. So you've been the pastor there for how many years now?
I think this summer it'll be 6 years.
6 years now.
Yeah.
Okay.
6 years, yeah.
Is there any chance of you being moved anytime soon?
I'm not supposed to be. But,
okay.
But you never know.
Yeah.
Right?
You never know. Yeah. How things might fall, and
Right.
If there's a priest that elderly priest or something that suddenly says it can't do anymore. Then we've got the ordinations coming up.
Right.
And all of that.
That's very exciting. Yeah.
Wow. How do you pronounce your last name?
Halepeska.
Halepeska. What's the origin of that?
It's a Czech name.
Czech. Okay.
Yes.
Are your parents or grandparents immigrants?
So my dad's grandparents were all immigrants. On my dad's side, one grandparent came from Germany, one came from Czechoslovakia, and two of them came from Poland. And then the other side came from France. So
okay.
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But the Germany, Poland, that's pretty much a very similar area, right?
Right.
Very similar cultures.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. So your dad's grandparents. So that was back when it was still Czechoslovakia.
I would imagine so.
Yeah, right?
I would imagine so, yes.
But you grew up here in Texas?
I did. I grew up kind of close to a small town called Golead, if you've ever heard of it.
I have not. Where is that?
It's kind of close to Victoria.
Okay.
And we lived way out in the middle of nowhere.
Really?
So, yeah.
How big was your parish?
Very small. Probably like 100 of us only. Like it was a very small parish, yeah. St. Peter and Paul's in Myersville, Texas.
Wow.
Yeah.
How often do you get to go back there?
Actually, I just had the opportunity to go back on Mother's Day because I had the opportunity. I was off that day and I didn't need to be at the parish, so I sat in the pew with my mom.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And so that was really cool to be able to do that because I may never be able to do that again.
Yeah,
So,
how often, right?
Right.
Usually if there's a priest, then the priest is celebrating or co-celebrating.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to be able to do that. Yeah, absolutely.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I kind of know how that feels because with my wife and I, we sing in the choir. Every once in a while, we let's sing in the congregation. This is different. Yeah,
Exactly.
But for you, it's much more rare.
Right, exactly.
Oh wow, that is so cool. Do you have a lot of family there, or is it just your
mom? So my dad's side is from Victoria, and there's some people that are pretty close to Cuero as well. So yeah, all around that area. Yeah.
Did you grow up Catholic?
I did. I've always been Catholic. Yeah.
Both sides of the family?
Both sides of the family, yes.
Did you go to a Catholic school?
I did not. I went to public school.
Public school over there?
Yeah.
What was your early formation like? Were your family really involved in the parish there?
Well, it was a small parish, so everybody had to be involved.
Wore several hats?
Yes, and we went to church every Sunday. We had faith formation every Sunday morning. And, back in the old days, which is not that long ago, but we had to go to faith formation every Sunday, and we had to go, kindergarten all the way through the 12th grade. So it was pretty nice. Yeah.
Did you think about becoming a priest early on?
I did. Probably the first time was when I was altar serving, and when I think his name was Father Barsh, and he was holding up the host, and I remember thinking, I want to be a part of that. Whatever that is, I want to be a part of that. And that was my first time probably, to really think about it and think, maybe I could do that. Yeah.
Now, did you hold on to that, or did it kind of just go in the back of your mind growing up?
Well, I think whenever you are trying to grow up, you're like, well, I want to make money. I want to go to college. I want to have this great job. I want to get married. I want to have kids. And so you kind of try to push that off to the side as much as possible. But then it comes back because he doesn't give up very easily.
Do you have siblings?
I do. I have a sister that is 4 years younger than me, and then a brother who is 7 years younger than me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did either one of them think about entering religious life?
No. They were like, that's what he's doing. We're not doing that. Yeah.
They didn't want to steal your thunder.
They didn't want to steal my thunder. Yeah. They are, both of them are happily married and have children. So they're very happy.
So all throughout school, through high school, you didn't think about seriously becoming a priest?
I thought about it, but I always tried to, that's for somebody else.
Put it to the back of your mind.
Yes.
I'm gonna go to college. I'm gonna earn money. I'm gonna
right, all of that kind of stuff. Right,
I'll just donate to the church.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So when did you really seriously think about?
Whenever I moved here to Houston, I went to U of H, and I got involved with the Catholic Center there. And I started to help people. I started to help with Mass, and I started to serve in that way. And I was like, I'm really enjoying this a lot. And I'm really enjoying it a lot. And then that call came back and started to take time, to really take time to pray, go to adoration, go to Mass. I remember when I first went to U of H, I had a friend that said, why don't we go to Mass today? And I said, it's Monday. Why would we go to Mass today? And so then it was like, well, I went that first time and then I never stopped, So,
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So that was in your first or second year of college?
Yeah.
So throughout high school, did you date?
I did, yeah. And I dated all the way through college too.
So even though you were considering it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, because I didn't think I was going to go that route.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was your degree in college?
I ended up finishing a undergrad in health education, which actually has been very helpful in my ministry. So,
really?
Yeah, because I can talk about health, and I can talk about mental health, and and all kinds of different health things. And I'm not embarrassed to talk about it because I've studied it. So and so that's been very helpful, actually. Yeah.
And mental health is a big thing nowadays.
It is. People, absolutely.
No longer sweep under the carpet.
Right. Which is awesome.
Yeah. So through college, you graduate. Did you work first before entering the seminary, or?
I did not. I first applied to the Victoria Diocese. Okay. And I didn't get accepted.
So what triggered you to apply in the first place? What was there a moment that you said, okay, I've got to pursue this?
Well, one reason is that I told this girl that I was kind of going out with at the time that I was thinking about becoming a priest. Okay. And that was not a good thing to tell her. So we were all upset about that, and then I was like, I really need to consider this. I need to go to seminary. You know? And I said, I need to try it out, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, I'll try this out. But I never even thought at that time that I would make it through. That just seemed like so far away. But I said, I have to try this because I think I have a calling. And so
when you entered, you were thinking, oh, I'm just going to try it out. I'm not going to make it to the end. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, I never thought I would. I mean, that was just so far away. And, I thought, whenever you're going into seminary, you're like, well, everybody else is holier than I am, and everybody else is going to be so much better at everything. And then you realize that we're all a bunch of really good guys who are trying to do the right thing and trying to answer God's call. And that's it,
Did you have it in your head oh, this guy's going to make it all the way. That guy's probably not going to make it.
Well, after a couple of few years, you could tell who was going to make it through and who wasn't, just by what they were after and what they were there for. Because if you're there for power, or if you're there to become a bishop, or if you're there for those reasons, you're not going to make it through, because it has to be about the calling, and it has to be about your calling, and he has to be involved. I mean, our God has to be involved because he's calling us, And so that's so important, because it can't be about what your friends want, what your parents want, what your friends want, what anybody wants. It has to be what God and you are trying to do, because he's going to be the one who's going to be there all the way through, right?
So have you seen like a lot of your friends just discern out?
I have. Unfortunately, it's hard to stay in, because they do put us through. There's a lot of studies. There's a lot of formation and all of those things, and it's not about being this perfect person, but it's about being able to make it through. Because when you get to the parish, you have to make it through things. I mean, just like with your family or whatever, you have to make it through things, to move on to the next level and to the next level, right? So,
were any of your classmates, make it all the way with you? Like, are there any that are in this area, in the Houston, Galveston, Houston?
So, I was ordained with 6. I think there was 6 of us total. Only one of us is not in the priesthood anymore, so we're all around. So so all of us are still going very strong. Yeah.
Now, let's backtrack a little bit. When you first told your parents, what was it like when you told them you were considering entering seminary?
I think like every other parents, I think they're happy, but they're scared.
Were they shocked? Did it come out of the blue for them, or did they have hints?
I think that they weren't shocked.
Okay.
But I think that they were like every other parent. They're like, so how are you going to get taken care of? And are you going to be okay? And are you going to be all by yourself? And all those kind of things start to, and it's something that I think that my mom is still sad about. I'll have no grandkids from you. But yeah, I think it's very common. And I think that's maybe not talked about as much, but I think it's important because every parents are a little concerned, I think.
Because of the unknown of seminary and what it's like. What it's
like, because, you kind of have a path that you're supposed to do. You're supposed to finish high school. You're supposed to go to college, and then you're supposed to get a job, and then you're supposed to get married, and you're supposed to do all of these things.
And everybody knows that path.
And that's how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
Not go to seminary. So it's a little scary, I think, for everybody, I think.
Taking that road less traveled.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Do you think it would have been harder on them to accept if you had been an only child? Or maybe...
I think so. I think that does make it harder. And I think that's why, family sizes are getting smaller.
Yes.
Right? Because things are more expensive now, and it's harder to have a bigger family. And so I think that does make a difference, because my mom does have 2 other children,
Yeah.
My mom and dad do. And so they have others that they can hang out with and all that kind of stuff.
And get grandkids from,
right,
and
all that kind of stuff, right? So yeah, I think it makes a difference.
Did you ever consider entering a religious order?
I did. And whenever it comes to spirituality, I'm very Jesuit, Ignatian kind of way. But yeah, I had lots of different things that I kind of tried to discern. But I thought that I always was called back to the parish. I always was called back to that, and not to be in a group or have a charism that was separate from the parish. That just didn't make sense to me. Even if it was attractive or it was heroic or whatever, I always came back to the parish. That was always what my calling,
Did you ever, enter into into an order and take a look at it, go to one of their come and sees? And
I went to lots of them.
Oh, really? Which ones did you go to?
Oh, I don't even remember because it was so long ago, but Jesuit, Basilian, Dominican, and I can go on. But, there was a lot of them.
You tried a whole bunch of them, huh?
I did, because I was like, I have to try everything. I have to really do this right,
Did you check out the Norbertines?
The Norbertines, I don't think so. I even was part of a group that went with these Maskins,
Oh, wow.
And so, I went, checked them out as well. But, it's just, I always was called back to the parish.
To the parish. Yeah. That's cool. Going through the seminary, was there a time where you, thought about, I'm thinking of leaving, discerning out?
Yes. Absolutely, because and I never understood why people would drop out like the last couple of, like you're only a year away and you drop out.
Oh, you're almost a deacon.
You're almost there, and I could never understand that. But then whenever I was there, you're tired. You're like, man, maybe I don't want to do this. Maybe this is too hard.
And then you have guys that drop out because of those thoughts.
Right. But I think all of us who are going through, it always helps to remember that even when you're married, you have tough days.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever you're single, you have tough days.
Yeah.
So not to, just because you're going through a hard time.
Yeah.
You don't have to stop.
That's what got you through?
Yeah. And I mean, St. Ignatius, he really teaches that whenever you're going through a hard time, that's not a time to say, no, I'm not going to do this anymore, right? So, yeah.
Going through seminary, where did you have your pastoral year?
My pastoral year was at St. Bernadette's in Clear Lake.
In Clear Lake, what was that like?
Being in a parish and helping out, it was interesting to see how a parish with 4,000 families, because I had never been.
Oh, that's right.
Because I had been in a small parishes, and it's completely different, right?
Yes.
You have all these people there all the time, and things going on, and all that kind of stuff. So it was a learning experience, and I think whenever I was going into the seminary, I thought that that I was going to have a small church. But that's not how it is.
Yeah.
I have a church, and I have another church, and I have a school, and I have the ecumenical office. So it's bigger, and I do all kinds of things, which is really fun.
So you had that pastoral year, and then you continued through seminary. What was it like coming back after that pastoral year? Because you're a year away from the studies, and you go back into the classroom again, right? It's
very hard because you're like, we're in the parish. I love this so much. And then you have to go back to school again.
And you're like, can I just stay there, right?
Absolutely. And you have to go back to formation, and you have to go back to all the rules of the seminary and all that. And it's just like, wow, I want to be in the parish again, So it's very hard, actually.
Who was your pastor there in your pastoral year?
His name is Father Bob Barris, and he's still there.
He's still there? That's awesome.
Yeah, Father Bob is still there.
Have you been able to go back a lot?
Not a whole lot, but I have been back. And I'm still in touch with people there. And
that is cool.
Absolutely.
That is really cool.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you go back into the seminary.
Yes.
And one thing that we've asked quite a bit about, from some of our guests, life in the seminary. What was it like for you? Were you more of a serious person, or were you one of those that was involved in like pranks and stuff?
I am one of those people that I did not enjoy the seminary.
Really?
Yeah, there are some that do and some that don't.
Okay.
And I just that wasn't what I was hoping for
Okay.
in the priesthood.
Uh-huh.
So I was ready to get out. But I had a lot of good times. We played a lot of pranks. It's like, because you're living with people for so many years and you know all of their shortcomings,
Yeah.
you know all of their good points, you know how to push every button,
Oh.
and so we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun too.
Do you remember any of the specific pranks that you've done? Do any of them stick out?
Oh,
Really memorable when you see that priest or one of those guys again, and you're like, hey, remember that time that this happened?
Well, when I was at Holy Trinity, I had a friend who was trying to guess my middle name. And so he started at A and he was just going down, and then he got to Q, okay?
Okay.
And he looked at me and he said, your middle name is Quigley. And so everybody started calling me that.
Okay, that's not your middle name.
No, not at all. So everybody started calling me that. And so I got called into the rector's office because he was like, why do you have all these people calling you this? And I was like, I didn't start it.
Oh, gosh.
And it was just so funny, and people laughed about it forever, and it was so fun, and everybody called me that forever,
Do they still call you that every once in a while?
I have a few people, because when I started to go to St. Mary's, I told everybody, you have to stop. That cannot come along,
That's hilarious. Did you play pranks on other people?
We did, and I can't remember one off the top of my head right now, but we sure did. Yes, absolutely.
No, a couple of our former guests have talked about is what they call chalice chippers or cassock chasers. Did you run into any women that kind of tempted you to leave seminary?
Oh, sure. They were always around.
Really?
Yeah, and we knew who they were, and so we would just stay away from them, Yeah, absolutely.
Was it in?
That's a real thing.
Did you go up to Dallas or straight into?
So I had to go there for 2 years up in Dallas.
In Dallas, is that where you ran into some chalice chippers?
There was more, because here you're at the seminary more.
Yeah.
You're not in that environment, but up there you're in a college environment.
Okay, so then you have like a little more of that temptation.
Right.
Was that hard to deal with?
I guess because I had already gone to school, it wasn't as hard. I think for those who hadn't been to college, I think it was hard.
Oh, because it's their first college experience with the parties and all of that.
All of that stuff. And so the party part of it didn't even, I was like, I've already done that. I don't need to go back to that,
And then so you went into St. Mary's. Where did you spend your diaconate year?
Diaconate year was at St. Hyacinth in Deer Park.
What year was that?
That would have been the year before I was ordained, so 2011. And
then do you have any memories about your time there?
Yes, I had to take over the baptism class. So I took that over, and that was an experience of, trying to change it, trying to bring it in, because the person who had been doing it was gone, and so I had to take it over, and it was just like starting it over from the start.
And usually the person that does that has been doing it for years.
And that's how it had been. I've been there for forever. And so
and they do everything, right?
They do everything. And so nobody knew how it went or how it was, because he was the only one who did it.
So you're building it from scratch.
Yeah. And so it was an experience. And then just remember being able to start, to give homilies, and because whenever you start, you're like so nervous, and you're like at the end, but when you're holding on to it and you're shaking, but but then you get calmer and calmer and calmer, and then it's okay.
You just you just got to get more used to it, I guess, huh?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Now, the baptism classes, I've heard this from people who've done baptism classes before. You run into lots of different types of parents. Did you run into any of those parents that just didn't take it seriously, who thought it was just a rite of passage and didn't mean anything?
Well, I think that every baptism class, like right now, is trying to help the parents to understand that it's their job to raise their kids Catholic,
Yes.
It's their job. It's not our job. It's not the church's job. They're the church too, and they have to be a huge part of that, right? They have to be a huge part of that. And so I think that was hard to see or hard to understand why people weren't interested in that. At times, or, when people bring their kids for baptism and then you don't see them until they have to have a sacrament again.
Oh,
it's like, well, what happened
First
in between?
Communion or something like that. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Do you think that's a cultural thing? Because, I noticed, as a teacher over the years, you feel like the parents are entrusting the teachers a little more and more to raise their children.
I think it's always been that way. I think we just know about it more.
No, what do you think it is?
I think it's always been that way. I mean, but like even in my small church at home, there were certain ones of us that were there all the way through, but there were certain ones that only came in every once in a while.
Yeah, for the sacraments.
Right. So but that was not a choice for me. I mean, I had to go, right?
Your parents were good at staying on you. And
you had to go. There was no choice. And you had to go to Mass every Sunday. And you had to participate. And you had to smile, too.
Is that what helped you get through the seminary? Because you said you didn't enjoy seminary. You preferred being at the parish. Is that what kind of helped you get through? Your parents kind of, pounding it into you? You got to keep going to church?
Well, I think... I had this one, father who was a spiritual director of mine, and he said, always pay attention to why you're here. You're here to become a priest. And always remember that. Don't worry about anything else. You're here to become a priest. And so whenever I would get upset or sad or stressed or whatever, you're here to become a priest. So do that,
Focus on the end goal.
Right. That's why you're here. You're here because you believe that God has called you, so go after it, right? And that was great advice.
Do you remember anything specific about your ordination?
Yes. So right before my time to get ordained, about 6 months before, I went camping. And something happened to my back, and so I was in a lot of pain. And I remember having to kneel.
Oh no!
During my ordination.
Oh no!
And just like being in pain,
Wow.
And but the moment that I remember so clearly is being on that cold floor and just being all spread out, and being on the cold floor and going, we made it. And I remember talking to God and said, we made it, because it was such a long time, to go through so much, but we made it. We are doing this, so it was exciting.
And that was in 2012?
2012, yes.
2012. Who was the vocation director that brought you into the seminary?
So that would have been Father Clint Ressler.
Okay.
And then Father Dad took over about halfway through.
Halfway through your...
Yeah, a time, yeah.
So who are the other guys who were ordained with you?
I don't want to say names because I don't want to forget anybody, but just some really great guys. And it was just a beautiful day, yeah.
That's cool. And they're around the Archdiocese still?
Absolutely, yes.
Who was your first pastor?
My first pastor was Father Sean... Horrigan at Christ the Redeemer, and he's still there actually. So yeah.
And how long were you there?
I was there for 3 years. And I learned a lot from him. Yeah.
Do you remember your first Mass?
Yes, I remember being up there, and even though the Roman Missal it's a great book and has all the helps and everything, it was the hardest thing to get through that first Mass with the ribbons and the pages and the turning and all of that.
I mean, I see seasoned priests have issues with the ribbons and the turning and the pages and all of that.
Absolutely, because like every once in a while, I'll just be having a bad day and I can't find pages in the Roman Missal, and I'm like, I know everything in this book. So, but
you've seen it how many times?
How many times have I gone through this and I can't find a page or something, right?
But when you're new,
it's really still kind of new, and you can't really try to practice the Mass until you do it. I mean, yes, we went through it hundreds of times, but you really don't really understand how it flows until you're up there, right?
Yeah. And then, of course, the feeling of it actually being a valid Mass.
Which is just, whoa. Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely.
That's amazing. How long did you say you were there again?
I was there for 3 years, and then I moved to Galveston, and I was with the Franciscans for 2 years, and then they moved, and then it became Father Judas Zuma for 1 year.
Is that when they had like the 5 parishes, 5 churches under one parish? Is that when they did that?
6 of them, yeah.
6 of them, okay.
Yeah. Well, that happened before all of that.
Okay.
But that's still how it is now, yes.
Okay.
Holy Family Parish in Galveston, yes.
Yeah, one parish with 6 churches.
Yes.
So how does that work? Do you go to each parish on a Sunday, each church
Absolutely.
on a Sunday?
Absolutely. It's a lot of, so I was in charge of like everything that went out to all the churches. So I had a basket for Sacred Heart. I had a basket for St. Patrick's. I had a basket for this church basket. So like, and that's how you did it. And it's amazing. It's a lot of moving parts. For sure.
Because you have to coordinate who goes where, right?
Absolutely.
And says which Mass at what time and what time they'll be finished.
Absolutely.
And then the next Mass somewhere else. Oh, wow.
Absolutely. I think they still do 11 Masses.
Wow.
And I think there's 3 of them there. So
when you're describing that basket, I'm just imagining like Minutemen coming down. All right, here's your basket. Go. Here, go.
Right.
That's pretty much what it was like.
Pretty much, yeah.
That must have been a real challenge.
Well, I think it is, but you have to serve however you have to serve.
Got to make it happen, yeah.
And in my current parish, I've had to do renovations on the church. I've had to do renovations on the gym. I knew nothing about any construction stuff at all. And now I know all these words and all these things that I never thought I would ever know.
So is that when you moved after Galveston?
Yeah. To Holy Rosary, yeah.
And you were moved into a pastoral role?
Right.
Right away. Okay. So that was your first pastoral role. And then you had to learn all of these things.
All of these things that I had no idea about, right. Absolutely, wow. Yeah.
And then you said that there's a school.
Yes.
There's the church. And then what else did you say?
We have a mission, St. Wenceslaus.
Oh, yes.
As well.
That's right.
And it's a big church as well, but not very many people right now.
Okay.
But we have a lot of property. We have a cemetery.
And so there's a lot of upkeep when it comes to that and maintenance.
Oh my gosh! But everything around St. W is about to grow. It's just going to explode.
Where is that?
It's about 8 miles past Rosenberg.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it is about to boom. Yeah, with the growth.
It's just exploding out there. Yeah, it's amazing how much it's exploding out there.
Yeah, because you've got full shear growing, and then you've got that whole Sienna area, and it's just gonna.
And then it's going to come together.
Yeah, come together over there in that area.
And they have a town that is going to be formed. It's Imberley. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No, I'm not. But I'm sure I'll hear more of it.
But it's a new town that's going to come up over there.
Wow.
And it's going to have like so many houses and so many different things.
And then you're going to expect the flood of parishioners.
Right. It's going to be pretty cool, I think. It'll be pretty cool. Yeah, absolutely.
So tell me about the parish. It's a historical parish. It's been around for a long time.
Yeah. Huh? It's been around for so many years. And in the church that we're in now that just got renovated, it's been there for 70-something years. And
wow.
It's a beautiful church. It's a beautiful place. And we are on 27 acres, so we have plenty of space. I mean, not a lot of churches can say that they have plenty of space, but we can say that. We have beautiful place, and it's a smaller parish, I would say, but we do a lot for being so small as we are. And we have a school that is awesome, that is a great school, and so we just have a lot that is going for us right now. Absolutely.
How many parishioners do you guys have?
I would say probably at Holy Rosary about maybe 800 and something families, and then at St. W about 100 families.
Okay.
So it's about 1,000 altogether. But it's interesting because we are starting to see a lot of people that we don't know.
Oh, people moving into the area,
yes, new faces, and we're starting to have a lot of that. So that's pretty cool for us.
You got to get a little better at memorizing names and all
yes, yes, I'm going to get way better at that.
Did you all feel like a dip in attendance in Mass when St. Faustina opened up? Because in this area, in the Full Shear area, there wasn't a church for the longest time, so people had to travel pretty far to neighboring parishes.
It's interesting because I think St. Faustina came about before I started at Holy Rosary, so
okay,
I don't really know how that worked. But what's interesting is about 20 minutes from St. Faustina is us, and then 20 minutes on the other side of us is St. Lawrence.
St. Lawrence,
so
yes.
So 2 huge parishes on both sides of us.
Yes.
And we're starting to get people from these big parishes because they're so big.
Yeah. They're looking for a smaller community.
Or they are looking for something very specific that we happen to have, or whatever, And so it's beautiful to be able to share that, And then there are some that are like, Holy Rosary is too small, and then doesn't have what we need, so we're going to go somewhere else.
Go to a bigger parish.
Yeah. It's fine too,
Yeah, I guess that's something new to you because you grew up in the, where there's probably just one church that was really nearby.
So you really weren't able to just go, I'm going to hop over here.
Yeah.
right.
It's like, I might miss this Mass. Let me hop over to this neighboring parish.
You didn't do that. Right.
You either made it or you didn't.
Exactly.
So with the smaller parishes, what unique challenges do you have?
For me, it's been to understand that we have to do the same things that the bigger parishes do, but in a smaller way.
Oh, yeah.
So because everything has to happen.
Yeah.
Everything has to happen, and you have a smaller staff, which I have an amazing staff at Holy Rosary. They are the best staff in the world. But we have a smaller staff, and we don't have as much of this.
And fewer volunteers too, I'm sure.
And fewer volunteers, but I would say that we're an active parish, and that's a beautiful thing too. And everybody kind of gets to know everybody, which is very special, I think.
Yeah, that's a nice thing about a small. You don't feel like you get lost in the shuffle in the smaller parish.
Right.
But then you're looking at possible growth with the expansion of
all of that area. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, right?
Do you have a parochial vicar with you right now?
I do have a parochial vicar. His name is Father Vip and George.
as you grow, are you going to expect like another one? How long? I mean, how many parishioners do you need before you can get a second?
I think that'll be a long time. I think it really depends on what is able to be handled and what, and all those types of things. But I think right now having a parochial vicar is enough. Yeah.
How long has he been there?
He's been with us for 2 years.
2 years now. Oh, so there's a possibility he might move.
Who knows?
His time is, because usually parochial vicars maybe 2 to 3 years, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, it's interesting, like the changes that may happen in this area.
Always, right? Yeah.
Now, what challenges do you have that you have a school that differ from, parishes that don't have a school that's attached to the parish?
Well, you have a lot of buildings that you have to take care of.
Oh, maintenance.
That you have to help take care of.
Yeah.
And it's just it's a blessing to have a school because you have kids there all the time. You have people there. You have families, moms, dads, everybody there all the time. I pretty much have kids and families on my, on campus all the time. So it's a beautiful thing. But I would say that the challenges is trying to take care of all of that, from a maintenance, administrative kind of point of view, if that makes sense.
You got a lot of balls in the air that you're trying to juggle.
Right. And sometimes I think that people don't see or understand that part, because you have to take care of all the money stuff and all the construction and all that stuff. And that takes up a lot of our time sometimes.
Yeah, and you don't have the budget to hire a separate administrator to do all that stuff either.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then so St. Wenceslaus, what is your relationship? How does that work? So you said it's a mission church?
So it's a mission. So it's a part of Holy Rosary Parish.
Okay, it's a part of the parish, but it's a separate church.
It is a separate church. So everything is separate, except for that it's a part of the parish. It's confusing.
So where is it exactly?
It's in Beasley, Texas.
Okay.
And that's only about 8 miles away from us on 59 there.
Okay, so there's I'm guessing the long-term plan is that it'll be its own separate parish.
That is above my
pay grade
completely. But I would imagine,
especially with the growth,
because of how things are starting to grow, that is a huge possibility for the future.
So that's probably some, the experience of having masses in different areas that you had when you were in Galveston. That kind of comes in handy with St. Wenceslaus and with
I was like,
Holy Rosary.
Man, I only have two churches now. That's nothing. Right.
You guys I used to have 6, right?
Yeah. So it's okay. Yeah, absolutely. And so it's kind of a challenge, I think, because you have 2 churches, but you're one parish, and so you want everybody to have their own stuff. You want them to do their own things. You want them to grow.
Yeah.
You want them to be successful.
Of course.
And you want everybody to be happy as much as possible, And so all of that's a challenge, but I have some wonderful volunteers so that help make all that happen.
Oh yeah,
so,
volunteers at church. I mean,
they're awesome. Beautiful people.
What kind of advice would you give to somebody who's in the seminary like you were that doesn't really enjoy being in the seminary, is just itching to go to the, to parish life? What would you tell them?
Keep on. I would say the same thing that other priest told me. Pay attention to what you're in there for. You want to become a parish, father, and so do that. Just keep on going, right?
What would you say to a parent who kind of had those thoughts that your parents had that, I'm not going to get any grandchildren I don't know if I'm going to see them that much, if they have a child that's thinking of religious life?
I would just say that I think sometimes we try to make the priesthood something so different, But there's lots of jobs where you travel and you're away from your family and you don't get to have a family right away, or you don't ever get to have a family because you're always gone or whatever. So there is some sacrifice, but I think what you get in return is beautiful too. So it's kind of like a give and take kind of thing, I think, right?
When you do finally get a new assignment, what do you want your parishioners to remember you by or remember about you?
That I love them. And that's pretty much it.
Thank you so much, Father Orrin.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you for, coming over here to St. Faustina and taking the time out of your busy schedule.
All right. Sounds good, man. Thank you.